Okay, so this is I actually discovered this first off of Alternative Homesteading's channel. So thank you very much. Uh, Thank you very much. Actually, this was very, very good news. This made my day the other day. Um, anyway, this is this is so monumental, and I don't know if people even I haven't heard anything else about it yet. So that's why I'm like blown away that this hasn't spread like wildfire through the TI community. Like this is totally game changing. Okay. Now it is still just words, so we'll see what kind of action gets taken here. But I'm going to let you listen to what this press conference says and the meaning of it, and then we'll talk about it after.
My name is Kristen Clark, the Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division at the U.S. Department of Justice. I am joined by U.S. Attorney Todd Gee, who serves here in the Southern District of Mississippi. Today, the Justice Department is announcing the opening of a civil rights investigation into the
I'm just going to mute myself here. That way you don't hear me crunching on chips.
City of Lexington, Mississippi, and the Lexington Police Department to determine whether they engage in a pattern or practice of conduct that violates the Constitution and federal law. Specifically, we will assess whether the police department uses excessive force, violates people's civil and constitutional rights during stops, searches, and arrests, engages in discriminatory policing, or violates people's civil rights to engage in speech or conduct protected by the Constitution. Lexington is a small community with approximately 1,600 residents and a police department with fewer than 10 officers. And in this regard, it is not unique. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, half of America's police departments have 10 officers or fewer. The Justice Department is committed to protecting the constitutional rights of all Americans, whether they live in small towns or big cities. Residents of rural and underserved communities have the same rights and deserve the same protection as people who live in downtown Baltimore or the suburbs of Louisville. Police misconduct in smaller communities may not always garner national attention, but rest assured the Justice Department is watching. No city, no town, no law enforcement agency is too big or too small to evade our enforcement of the constitutional rights every American enjoys. Small and mid-sized police departments cannot and must not be allowed to violate people's civil rights with impunity. Just recently, in August, we obtained guilty pleas from 5 deputy sheriffs in nearby Rankin County and 1 police officer from Richland, Mississippi, for beating and torturing 2 black men. Accountability applies everywhere, and we hope this investigation makes crystal clear our commitment to ensuring constitutional policing in every corner of our country. Based on an extensive review of information that is publicly available and that we received from stakeholders, we conclude there is significant justification to open this investigation now. For example, there are allegations that Lexington police officers have stopped, searched, and arrested people without justification, used force against people who did not pose a threat to officers, used illegal roadblocks targeted at black drivers, and retaliated against people exercising their right to question police action or record police activity. The police department also appears to have violated First Amendment rights by routinely arresting people merely for using profanity. Community members have offered troubling accounts of how these alleged practices have affected their lives, of injuries caused by gratuitous and excessive force, of alleged sexual assault, and of repression and reprisal. We know, too, that these allegations arise in a community that has already faced racial discrimination and economic disadvantage. About 86% of Lexington's population is Black, and it has a poverty rate approaching 30%. But it also has a storied place in civil rights history. In the face of violent opposition, residents persisted in registering and exercising their right to vote, and in 1967 elected the first Black representative to the Mississippi State Legislature in the 20th century, who later went on to become Speaker of the Mississippi House. Underserved communities in the Deep South will not be left behind as we carry out our work to ensure constitutional policing across America. To be clear, this is the beginning of the investigation, not the end. We have drawn no conclusions. We are committed to conducting an independent, comprehensive, and fair investigation. We will review incident reports, body-worn camera footage, and other information regarding the interactions of Lexington police officers with the public. We'll also review the police department's policies and training materials and other internal documents to understand how the department operates. We will meet with police officers and observe them during their shifts to learn about their practices. And we will meet with members of the community every step of the way to hear about their experiences with the department. As in every investigation, we will follow the facts and the law wherever they lead. If we find a reasonable cause to believe that there is a pattern or practice of constitutional or statutory violations, we will issue a public report setting forth our conclusions. And if we don't find such violations, we'll announce that result. And as always, we will not tolerate retaliation against community residents who participate in our investigation. In the event we find violations, we will seek to work cooperatively with the City of Lexington and the Lexington Police Department to reach an agreement on remedies. If we can't reach such an agreement, then the Justice Department is authorized to bring a civil lawsuit seeking injunctive relief to address violations. We look forward to working with city officials and the police department. We also look forward to working with the community as we carry out our work. We want the community to know that we see you, we hear you, and we will stand up for you. We have just briefed Lexington officials about the investigation and are pleased that they have pledged their cooperation. Since January of 2021, our investigations have included larger police departments such as Phoenix, Baltimore, Minneapolis, Louisville, and Memphis. And we've looked at mid-sized departments such as in Worcester, Massachusetts, and Trenton, New Jersey. The Lexington Police Department is one of the smallest we have investigated and one that represents most law enforcement agencies in our country. As I close, I want to note that our pattern and practice investigations have fueled significant reforms by law enforcement agencies. In Seattle, for example, the police department has reduced the use of force by 60%. Officers now use force in less than 1/4% of all events to which they respond. In Baltimore, the Independent Monitor found that officers are using force less often, and when they do use force, it is more likely to be consistent with police department policy and the law. And under the consent decree in Albuquerque, New Mexico, use of force declined by 25%, and violations of the force policy fell by half. Misconduct by law enforcement, excessive force, discrimination, illegal stops and searches, violations of First Amendment rights, All of this abuses and undermines public trust and harms racial minorities and other vulnerable populations. This discredits law enforcement. These problems, though, can be fixed. It is possible to restore public trust, to build a working relationship with the community, and to instill in departments a culture of non-discrimination and respect for constitutional rights. We are committed to working with officials in Lexington to achieve these goals. The Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department is pleased to conduct this investigation in partnership with the U.S. Attorney's Office. I'll now turn the floor over to my colleague.
Now, here's something that here's the way I look at it. Like I said, it's just words. So you don't hear them talking about, the common practices in the community stalking, community harassment, and these different things that they do. When we all know um, how they all are aware of it, because I mean, just how prevalent the problem is, how widespread, you know, you just listen to the victims, you realize how widespread the problem is of what we call gang stalking or community harassment, community policing. So what I need to see, if they expect to restore public trust, um, I don't think they can do it without uh, saying out loud, without informing the public of these practices, these common practices that these agencies engage in, because they're still going to engage in them. That means that if they come out like this on the surface, right, then what's left for them? They're not going to, they can no longer beat you up and get away with it at their job, right? So what's left is they're all going to, that it tells me that they're all going to just resort to the fucking community stalking and harassing, and that because that's all they have, right? Vigilante justice. That's what they're going to do, so they don't get in trouble when they're on the job, right? If they can't get away with beating you up whenever they're wearing their badge and their gun, then what are they going to do? They're going to get you from behind. They're going to get you, they're going to fuck you from behind if they can't fuck you from the front. So what I need to see, I won't believe that any public trust is going to be restored, and I won't believe that they are sincere about what they're saying here until I see some kind of education campaign, a campaign to educate the general public on the common practices and everything related to community stalking and harassment to help people to identify it and to weed it out. They do literally have to teach the general public about this stuff if we have any hopes that it stops, because they're able to do this shit and get away with it if people don't know that it happens. If people don't understand that this is a thing that they do, they'll keep getting away with it. And they'll keep calling us crazy, you know, saying we're schizophrenic, saying that, that we have mental illness, we're drug addicts, all that, all the same old fucking bullshit. Yeah, it's got to be all or nothing. They can't do something like this just to satisfy the public and hope that they're going to fix the problem that they created. No, they have to go all in. So we'll see. Obviously, there's going to be a whole bunch of calls because of this press conference. They give an 800 number and a direct way to file your complaints directly to the DOJ, and they said there isn't a police department too small. That it all matters, right? So you can imagine the enormous amount of complaints that they're going to get, right? Whether they are able to focus on your complaint or not is kind of irrelevant. The fact that they get that sheer number of complaints is going to tell them, what basically give them a picture of what's really going on, of how bad it is. They're going to know how bad it is based on the number of complaints they get. they're going to, and that's what you have to remember. The fact that they know the problem's this bad, they know there's this many people that this is being done to. If they still try to pretend like gang stalking isn't happening, if they try to pretend like it doesn't exist, like it's not a thing, the community harassment and shit, then that tells you everything you need to know. That tells you that they plan on continuing that. That tells you they plan on continuing that. And if they're, like I said, if they're cracking down on the surface, to be more transparent and everything, then that means they're going to ramp up the fucking gang stalking. That's my take on it. That's how I see it. So I could be wrong. Um, I'm not trying to be just negative Nancy. I'm just calling it how I see it. I'd rather be optimistic and be very positive and see the silver lining in it and everything. And this is absolutely a big step. And this is great news to hear to hear. You know what I mean? They went out of their way to make a press conference to do this publicly like this on purpose for a reason, right? Because it has an effect by itself. Just doing one of these press conferences has a huge effect on the public perception and all that stupid bullshit. So it's going to take action, though. It's to make real, actual fucking change. If we ever hope to change what has gotten to this point, how bad it is. I mean, you either want to change it or you don't. If you say this, but then you turn around and still pretend like these things aren't going on, then what's that tell you? That tells you that they don't want to get rid of it. They want to use that too. They probably use those tactics as well if they need to punish somebody. So, just giving you the kind of a way to look at it. Look at the big picture. Don't get blinded by everything she's saying here because it's just words. It's called programming for a reason. Don't get all excited and run around singing "Ding Dong, the witch is dead." No, this is this. If you ask me, this is more of a. Uh, I mean, get your guard up, get on your toes. Wait, ready to see what happens next. But I fear that this is a way to to use more plausible deniability. Oh, well, we do our constitutional policing. Didn't you see that press conference? You know what I mean? Like, what do you want us to do? Report your complaint, and then nothing gets done. So we'll see what happens. But they're going to have to come out if they want. If we hope to have any change, but if we don't, then just expect it to ramp up. I'm saying expect it to ramp up big time if if they go through with this without acknowledging the fucking community harassment, stalking, fucking campaigns and shit that they do, the common practices. If they don't educate the public on it, that tells you what they're doing then, right there. So you can go to this. I'll link the video in the description here. Go check out the whole press conference yourself. This other guy, this other bald guy, he has some important stuff, important words to tell you as well. Again, they're just empty fucking words, hot air. If there's no action to go along with it. So this press conference highlights the actions that they've already taken. So look at me, look what I did, you know, patting themselves on the back and everything. But it says what they plan on doing, but that's just words. So go to this, go check out the whole video for yourself, and tell me what you think. That's my take on it. So tell me what you think. It could be a perspective I'm not seeing. I don't know. It's just kind of have this curse of being right all the time about shit. And it's always about something like this that I don't want to be right about. And then time after time, I end up being fucking spot on. And it's like, it ends up pissing people off most of the time because they don't want me to be right either. And then, you know, I don't go around saying, I told you so, but they still get mad. So if you agree with this or if you want to, please spread this. Like, share, subscribe, but spread this around. Share this to your community walls. Get this out there. Let a bunch of people see this. So so that everybody knows that we know of the existence of this task force here. It's like I said, it's a constitutional policing. That's what they're focusing on. And in regards to civil rights, it's the Civil Rights Division, you know. And if you don't understand what your constitutional rights are, you might not even realize that you've been violated. Chances are your constitutional rights were violated and you don't even know it. So do your research, check this out, tell me what you think in the comments, and be good or be good at it. Peace out. I think whenever I can get my phone to work right, it don't want to work. What do you know? Fucking piece of shit phone. Piece of shit phone. I got a piece of shit phone. It sucks royal dick. The fucking pile of shit. It never works whenever I need it to. Fuck you, phone.